honestly, I feel a little guilty. Like I probably should tell you all the ways I'll deliver, financial results to all the shareholders. But really, more of what I really want to say is, why personally I feel fortunate to be part of the BK community, and what I've observed in just the last 9 days, more from a kind of a cultural and, I don't know if you say, philosophical point of view, and it's really everything I hoped it would be. And Steve asked me just to share a little bit about what I've observed and what I hope to bring to the organization. And so at the risk of just speaking on Nande's experience, there are some things I felt like I'm just sort of brimming, just to talk about. One of the things I've seen in just the last 9 days is a conference room full of employees take a vote on their incentive pay. After their managers delivered the business results, and then stepped back and kind of opened it up to everybody in the room to make the decision, about their pay. I've seen a room full of employees completely enraptured and invested in a kind of advanced book about academic research, and I could see the authors just smiling as they were getting these questions that they later said they didn't even get from their graduate students. And it was a tough book to understand. Don't get me wrong. So. I've been asked in the last 9 days. I'm being a little bit facetious here, but if I had to guess, it'd be like 50 times the question, "What do you think?" And I would say that's probably as much as I've been asked that question in the last 3 years. But I'm not special in this. We have our editorial intern, Charlotte Ashlock, and she's been all the same meetings I've been, and I think she's been asked the same question just as much as I have. So I'm not special in this. So in short, I've seen a company full of people who are fully awake and fully enjoy what they do. So I hope I don't shock anybody in this room if I confess that one reason I'm here is a book that BK doesn't publish. So I have to kind of come clean on that. Not that this book isn't completely congruent with books like Stewardship and all the other great BK titles, but you do always remember your first love. And for me, the first kind of groundbreaking book in leadership and organizations was the book Up the Organization, which was published, I think it was like 1972, but even today, 800 CEO Read calls it the #1 book that's a must-read for anyone in organizations. And just to throw out a couple of the, I have that book pretty much memorized, to be honest, and some of the things that have always stuck out in my mind that Robert Townsend, the author, said about organizations that I'm always looking for in the organizations that I encounter. #1, people don't hate work. It's as natural as rest or play. #2, secrecy. It's a child's garden of diseases. Another observation, leadership must be for the benefit of the followers, not the enrichment of the leaders. And my favorite, which is kind of a metaphor for the whole thing, reserved parking places are a no-no. If you're so bloody important, you should be the first one in the office anyway. So the organizations that I've been a part of or observed, or many better than others, but I'd say the average that I've encountered, and this is even in the enlightened organizations, maybe 10% of the good ideas in that book, or 10% of the things that I've wanted to see in the organizations that I've encountered, were actually carried out in these companies and these groups. And I would say, based on 9 days of experience, so check with me at the next meeting, I'd say that Berrett Koehler scores about a 98% of what I've been looking for in that book. And these are the same ideas that are in the other BK books. I don't mean to just say that this one like Stewardship. So BK had me when Steve confessed that he carries around in that briefcase quotes from books like Up the Organization, like Stewardship, other BK authors, great leaders. He carries these quotes around to remind himself what the mission of BK is supposed to be and what the feeling is supposed to be of being a participant of that community. And that's why I'm here. So it's great that BK is such a wonderful place to work. I do have a job to do, and I wanted to say what it is, how I'm bringing myself to this mission. And the mission of BK is to challenge the world to make a more humane, just, and productive organizations and cultures, and in our shorthand, that's a world that works for all. And what I'm looking at is being in this organization and looking at the news in the last week. And I just thought I would go to the newspaper for the last week, and here are some of the things that popped up in the news this week. We learned that oil workers at BP were coerced into silence, with several warned internally that there were safety lapses that could lead to a disaster, but they were told, please don't talk about that. We learned that Dell shipped hundreds of thousands of computers, fully knowing the failure rate would be 97%, and instructed their customer service people not to talk about the problems. This week, an SEC lawyer was finally vindicated and given an award of nearly $1 million after he had been fired for pursuing an inconvenient case against a powerful CEO. I can think of a BK book that might have helped turn the tide in each of these examples of organizational failure and cultural failure if it had just been in the right hands. And looking at our BK Life agenda, I think General McChrystal might have had a better week if he had read, say, Leadership and Self-Deception. So these books are important. I guess that's what I'm sort of here to say. And my aspiration in this job is to seek out the authors and voices who will help our society and organizations do the hard work of becoming more fair, more just, and more inspiring for all of us. And the fun part is I know it's not just my job. I'm part of a community, and I'm in a good company. So thanks.